So the key always is self-awareness. And so you already have that. You're developing that self-awareness because you see that, oh, this is happening and I want to change that. One of the things I start to pay attention to is noticing, even if it's after the fact, it's like, okay, I'll go in my head and I'll be like, what happened that led up to me yelling? What did I get upset about? What little emotions bothered me? What was the buildup? What was the emotional stack that led to the yelling? And so when I think about it afterwards, I'm able to look at it and be like, oh, well, I got upset about this, or I was irritated about this little thing on the computer, and then this. And then after all those little irritations, this and this and this happened. And then it was the last straw. And then I yelled. So when I started to pay attention to those things, I began to realize that I can't just let the little annoyances go. Like I need to pay attention to the little annoyances and do something about them. So I started to be very proactive, and I still am, of when I feel irritated, when I feel annoyed about whatever, the work I'm doing or the dog barking or whatever, I stop then and I'm like, okay, let me do something that helps me feel better. Let me resolve this. Let me talk about it. Let me process it. Let me calm down. Let me do something that helps me feel better. Because as we do that, you've heard us talk about this emotional stacking. All of these emotions stack up, but if we remove those, then they don't stack up. They don't pile up. It's only the pile that leads to like the yelling or exploding. But if you remove the small emotions as they come, then you don't have a stack. And so when they do the thing, instead of having this stack that's the last straw, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that was annoying, but I don't have all of this emotion stacked up, so I can just deal with that thing rather than, blah, here's the whole vomit pile. It's not a pile of vomit. So for me, at least, I think the strategy that works really well is when I start vocalizing what I'm feeling and what I want. So I'm literally talking to my kids and I'm saying, I am feeling really overwhelmed right now with all the things that are happening. So how about first, I'll help you get your drink of water. Then I'm going to go clean up the dog bed because I need to do that. And then we can do so I'm walking them through, and myself, like all of the things, but it's helping us all remain present in the present moment with a strategy for getting through it. Because at least for me, when I'm usually feeling the most overwhelmed, I recognize it's because I was the least present. I was thinking about, I got to do that, and I got to do that, and I got to do that, and too much.
And so they're
And then
saying,
like,
"Mommy," and they're getting after you because, like, "I need attention."
all these things. But if I take my attention to the present, to them, and then I talk about what I'm thinking or feeling, they now know where I'm at. They know where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And my presence with them is not only calming, but it's calming for them, but it's also calming for me because I'm not thinking about all these other stuff. I'm in the moment with them, and I'm helping them, and I'm helping them, and I'm modeling for them how we move through the chaos, right?
Everybody listen up. This is not just your littles. If your teenagers are in the same pattern, if you and your spouse are in the same pattern, like wherever there's like these little drama triangles going on, pay attention right here because the shift works for the little kids and it works for adults.
Yeah. So the words and saying those things can help you be present in that moment. But for me, I found it to be even more grounding and regulating of because when this is happening, their nervous system, their emotional system is ramped up and mine's getting ramped up. So in a way, if you look at it from a biological level, what you're trying to do is calm everyone's nervous system down, calm everyone's emotional system down, because it's those emotions that end up exploding. When we lose it, when they are getting upset, it's really, it comes down to biology. It's literally their nervous system that's like, "Huh," and ours, huh? Right? So if you just want to look at the biology, you're trying to calm it down, calm everyone's down. So I do that literally through touch, through looking at their eyes, because there's a lot of science behind looking in someone's eyes has a calming effect. Having a kind, gentle touch, not like this kind of stuff, right? A kind touch.
This
I
is having a
also,
biological effect on me.
I love, here's one of my secrets. I love to cuddle with my children while I'm disciplining them because it keeps us both calm. So if I'm disciplining the child that's causing the problem, I literally am like this, or I have them sit on my lap and I'm telling them, hey, I love you so much. You're so sweet and nice. And I really need your help right now because daddy's gone and I need to do this. And I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And when I hear you fighting, it's just making me stressed. And that's not helping me at all. So can you please help? And generally, because kids want to help out, like they want to feel useful and necessary and needed, right? If that doesn't work, then I literally, again, when we talk about emergency modes or stuff, like this is one of the things that's an emergency mode for me. It's a necessity. I am way more interested in resolving the issue than I am with whatever else needs to be done, even if it has a deadline, even if, like, whatever. Like, I will let that stuff go because the relationship and resolving the thing is more important. Like these are the life skills that make all the difference. This is what makes a peaceful home. So this has priority. This is raising necessity. It's more important to me. So I will always, always, always prioritize resolving the issue in a peaceful and loving way than I will over anything else that needs to get done. Because in the scheme of things, the long-term scheme of things, this is the only thing that needs to get done, right? Helping our kids learn how to resolve conflicts and interact with each other and all of that, that takes priority for me always. So I'll put anything on the back burner if I need to, even if that means I go and it takes me 20 or 30 minutes to hold them, to cuddle with them, to role play with them, so that they learn, oh, okay, this is how we resolve conflicts. And then they learn that skill on their own. And then it takes, it doesn't require me to do that all the time. But it's because I made the investment of time. I was willing to sacrifice other things to make that investment to help them learn those skills.
Yeah. Another thing in that specific instance, if you're trying a strategy, if you go over and you talk to them and you say something and you try to help and it doesn't, and they just keep doing the same thing, then you guys, we have to try different things. We cannot keep going back and doing the same thing. You're like, oh, I went back and I told them to stop and they didn't. So I went back and I told them to stop and they didn't. So I went back and I told them to stop and they didn't. So finally I go back and I'm like, wow, right?
Well, that is
So
trying a different thing.
yeah, it's different, and you'll get a reaction, all right. But what I'm gonna do before that is I go and I tell them, and then it happens again. I go in and I pick one of them up, turn him upside down, and I carry him out with me. I'm like, I need a helper, and maybe I'm trying to make breakfast, so I'm like, I need a helper. Total pattern interrupt. And
Playfully.
and one day I grab the big one. I'm like, you're helping me crack eggs, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then one day I go and I grab the little one by the back, and I always loved carrying our kids by the back of their shirt or whatever, just pick them up, and I'm taking the little one in, and I'm like, I need your help stirring and mixing the eggs. And yeah, it's going to be slower and messier, whatever. But I'm just going to do. We're pattern interrupt here. We're changing this. We're going away. I'm not just going to keep doing the same thing because then, of course, I'm going to get so frustrated because I keep telling them and they keep doing it. So I'm going to do a pattern interrupt. I'm going to mix things up and do a different
Yeah, a
uh,
pattern interrupt is a
strategy.
great strategy. And, we often do it with very young children. We take their attention from one thing and direct it to something else, but we can continue using that sort of strategy with all children as we just direct their attention from the fight or whatever they're in into something else, whether it's helping or it's, I don't know. Anyways,
One more thought, ladies, well, and gentlemen. Pay attention to how hungry or hangry you are.
and the kids. Yeah.
Some of you literally you just yell or you snap because you need a nap or you need a bite to eat or pay attention to what week you are in your cycle,
Mhm.
ladies. Because there's going to be a few days in there that it's going to be just so much easier to snap. And if you know that, just be like, oh, I'm just going to chillax it here and we'll do some different strategies, knowing that you're more likely to be irritable.
Well, which ties in as well. I just want to mention this again to the whole idea of the routines and the chunks and all these things. Like for me, that adjusts depending on my cycle. So some weeks I'm way more relaxed. I'm not having such strict Not that it's strict, but, like, it's not as rigid. It's just more like, "Yeah, we're gonna go with the flow and have some fun." And then the other weeks, I'm like, "Okay, we're on it. Yeah, get up, go. You do this. I'm doing this." But I'm not like that every single week of the month. And so when I recognize that, it's much easier to have more grace with yourself because you're like, "It's that week. So we're gonna be more relaxed."